Someone tell me, what do we mean by Microsoft Entra ID Connect or Azure ID Connect? Anyone having any idea on this? Okay. Okay. So when when it comes to Microsoft Entra ID, okay. So the most important feature that Microsoft Entra ID provides is hybrid identity. Okay. So hybrid identity is basically you can merge or you can create a hybrid environment. Okay, when I say hybrid environment is like most of the organizations, okay, even though they haven't moved their services active directory or other services on cloud, so they will have their own setup. Okay, they will have their setups, and now what they want is they want to have a hybrid connectivity. Okay, so yeah, just let me open paint once. So most of the organizations will already have a setup. Okay, will have their own on-prem setup. Okay, and this, okay, I will tell you all the steps, but this one you people need to implement. Okay, I will tell you all the steps and what are the questions that will be asked in the interview, but the implementation tasks will be assigned to you people only. Okay, you people need to implement and share a document of this. Okay, so yeah, so most of the organization will have their own prem setup, and when I say on prem setup, they will have their own hardware, they will have their own server rooms and everything, and on top of the hardware they will install one service that is called active directory domain service. Okay, we already saw when we saw the first lesson of Entra ID. So we saw how to create a domain, okay, how to install Active Directory domain services on this server. Okay, so most of the organization will be already having this setup on this Active Directory domain service. What they will be having is they will have user accounts, user one, similarly user two. They will have each and everything. Okay. So now what they want is they now want a hybrid connectivity. Okay, either for the backup purpose, some like most of the organization will go for the cloud environment for this active directory domain service, or my intra id service is for backup service. Okay, for some reason if his on-prem setup is not working due to some hardware failure or due to some network failure or due to some power failure, so they want a backup of this environment. Okay, so what they will do is they will set up their identity on the cloud also. Okay, and most of the organization will prefer azure for it. Okay, because this environment, on-prem environment, is also a product of Microsoft only, and this one Azure is also a product from Microsoft only. So here also they will create the create one setup on the cloud also. Okay, so now the problem over here is, suppose I have my own prem setup, I am having my own organization, and on that, in that organization I am having my own setup on the on prem. I have already built in ADDS services and I have created user accounts and everything I have done. Okay, so now if I want to go for the cloud services for backup purpose or for any reason, I want to take the services from the cloud also, Azure also. So it will be very challenging for me to again, although in Azure you don't need to create set up the infrastructure and everything. Okay, it is a pass offering. So here, over here, you don't need to deploy any server or maintain any server. We can simply go to Azure AD and start creating user accounts, groups, everything we can do. But we already have user accounts, groups, OUs, sites, everything created on our on-prem environment. Okay, so why do we need to con- uh, what I say? Why do we need to create all the details again into this Azure environment? Okay, so we have one tool in place. Okay, we have one tool, and that tool is basically used to sync your own prem user groups, OU sites, whatever we have, okay, already created in this on prem environment. So that tool, what it will do, it will simply sync your data from the on-prem environment to your Azure AD environment. Okay. So now you don't need to create anything from the scratch on this Azure portal. Everything will be synced. If you are creating a user account on your on-prem environment, that will be synced to Azure environment. If you are creating on the Azure AD environment, that will also be synced to your on-prem environment. If you are updating your password to on-prem environment, okay, the same will be right back to this Azure AD portal. And if you are updating from the Azure AD portal, the same thing will be reflecting in your on-prem environment. Okay, so how do we achieve this? We achieve this using a tool that is called Entra ID Connect tool or Azure AD Connect tool. Okay, so there will be a tool that will be used to integrate. Okay, not like this. Actually, this tool also, okay, there will be this tool, but this tool, Azure AD Connect tool, also we need to install on the where we need to install on the on-prem environment only. Okay, on on-premises server where it depends on you whether you want to install on this Active Directory where you have installed this Active Directory domain service. Okay, you can install on that particular server also. Okay, we like when we did this tasks for Windows admin tasks, then we created a server. We took Windows Server 2022, and on that Windows Server 2022 we install one service, Active Directory domain service. Okay, so if you want, you can install this tool. Okay, like we are installing VLC media player, we are installing softwares now. Similarly, you just need to download a tool. Okay, that tool I will show you from where you will get. Okay, so what you can do, you can install this Azure AD Connect tool on this server also if you want. Okay, on which you have already installed this. Install this ADDS. Okay, or what you can do, or you have another option also. Okay, you can take another server on the on-prem environment. Okay, another server you can take, and on that also you can install this tool. Okay, so that flexibility you have. But the thing is, you can install from here also. But the thing is, there is one condition. This server, the another server which you are creating for installing this Azure AD Connect tool, this server should be part of this domain controller. Okay, like that day we saw na, how to create a machine and how to create a client machine and how to add that client machine to the domain controller. We created a domain with the name of lab.com. Okay, and then we created a client machine with some client PC, something like that, and we added that by doing some DNS configuration changes and everything. We added the second machine, okay, to the lab.com domain. Okay, we saw that day. So you can do that setup also. You can make this member of this domain. Okay, and then what you can do, once this second server is added to this domain, you can install this Azure AD Connect on this also. So both possibilities you have. Okay, so yeah, and once this Azure AD Connect tool is installed, so what will happen then? Okay, now come to this. Yeah, this is our Azure AD environment. This is on cloud. Okay, okay, yeah. Over here, you need to remember few things. Okay, mm, yeah. First thing is, should in interview they can ask you these things. Okay, that's something. This is copy and paste process. Okay, not cut and paste. Copy and paste, when I say copy and paste means, if a user account is created on this on-prem environment, so that user account will be copied to the Azure environment also. Okay, not that this user one, once it is created on this on-prem, so if it is synced, then it will be gone from Azure AD, Windows AD. It won't be like that. Okay, so it is a copy and paste process. Okay, and what are the things that you can what are the things that you can sync between your on-prem to the cloud environment? So you can sync all the identities. Okay, so when I say identities, what are the different type of identities we have? We have users. Okay, we have groups. We have what we have contacts. Okay, we have devices. So all these things you can sync between your on-prem environment to the cloud environment. Okay, so now okay, anyone having any doubts still here? Anyone?
Sir,
Rameshi?
uh,
Hmm.
sir, how to connect ADDS tool to Azure AD?
Yeah, yeah, that I will tell you. That is like yeah. Now we will discuss about that only. Okay, so now we'll discuss about that only. Okay, so up to here it is clear now how to install this Azure AD Connect tool. Okay, so now
Like in ADDS, we have to install the
yeah,
tool, sir.
yeah, you can install on this that server also on which you have installed the ADDS, or if you want to install on the separate server, that also option is open to you. Okay, both the options, but the condition is that server, the second server should be part of that domain only, domain controller only. Okay,
Okay, sir.
yeah. So now once you have installed Azure AD Connect or Intra Connect, both are same. Okay, tool on your on-prem server. On-prem server. Okay, once this installation is done, so then what we need to do? Okay, you need to have few things ready. Okay, if you want to do the whole setup, you need to have few things ready. So, if you want to sync between both the environments, first step is installing this Azure Ready Connect tool only. Okay, and once this tool is installed, so it will allow you to sync between the on-prem environment to the cloud environment. Okay, so you need to provide few details also in order for this tool to sync between the environments. So, what are the details that you need to uh, fill in? First thing is, okay, when you will open when you will open Azure AD Connect tool, so it will ask you for options. Okay, first option that will be asked to you is, there will be a pop-up that will be coming and it will ask you to connect to Azure AD. Okay, this option will be coming when, like, we are opening VLC media player, so it is giving us some option now. Similarly, when you will double click, once your installation is done and your that tool is up and running, so if you just do double click on that tool, so first option will be coming to you is connect to Azure AD. Okay, so here what you need to provide, here you need to provide details of user account from Azure AD. Okay, when it is telling connect to Azure AD, so you need to provide user account details of Azure AD. Okay, so what you will have to provide? User one. Okay, let's take, we have created a user account with the name of user one. Okay, at the rate cognizant.com. Okay, so this user account we can use to connect our on-prem to Azure AD. Okay, so this user account you can use, but remember, this user account must be having global admin rights. Okay, if this user account doesn't have the global admin rights, he won't be able to sync. Okay, the privilege should be global admin rights privilege. Okay, anything lesser than that won't work if you are trying to create a hybrid identity. Okay, so just remember, this question can come up in the interview when we are trying to sync. What is the privilege that the user should be having to connect to Azure AD? So it is global admin rights. Okay, so you just need to, when this connect to Azure AD option will be coming, so you need to have one global admin, have a account with global admin rights. You just need to provide the username, password. Okay, so and click on OK. Okay, so next what will happen? Then the next option will be coming is connect to Active Directory domain service. Okay, this is for your own prem environment. Okay, when I say connect to Active Directory, second pop-up that you will be getting is connect to Active Directory domain services. So over here you need to provide the details of your Windows or on-prem environment user details. On-prem environment details. Okay, so over here what you need to do, you should have one user account created in that. We created a domain with lab.com, and there we created a user account. Your user account only we created, Ramya. Okay. So you should have your user account created on the where we need to have this user account created on the lab.com domain. Okay. Or the domain which we are trying to sync with the Azure AD. Okay. And just remember, this user account should be having this enterprise admin privilege. Okay, if he is not an enterprise admin, he won't be able to sync your data. Okay, so just remember these points. Okay, and once you enter the user accounts having enterprise admin privilege, so what this tool will do, this tool will firstly install sync engine. Okay, install sync engine. Next, what it will do, it will configure this. You don't need to remember. Okay, Azure AD connector, these things it is doing in the background. Okay, above 2 points you need to remember properly. And then okay, I'm just telling, but these are not so important points. It will configure your domain. Okay, local domain or on-prem domain. Okay, and now next what it will do, it will enable password has sync. I will tell you these points. Okay, don't worry. Sync. And it will also enable auto upgrade. Okay, it is not like you need to come and sync the data again and again manually. Okay, suppose I have installed this tool and I have done this connect configuration, everything I did. But what if after 5 days I created another 10 accounts on my on-prem Windows 80? Okay, so that 10 accounts should be automatically synced to my Azure AD. Or if I'm creating some accounts after 10 days on my Azure AD, that account should also be synced back without any manual push. Okay, so this will also enable auto upgrade. And what is the last thing that it will do? It will configure sync service, sync services. Okay, so sync services is what? The same thing. It will enable your on-prem data to be copied and pasted to the Azure environment and vice versa. Okay, so up to here it is clear. How do we do these things? Once the Azure AD Connect is installed, what are the steps that you will be getting and how to provide the details? Is it clear, everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Rameshri, Sushma, Sandhya, Ashwini. Okay. Okay. So these steps that this tool will be following in the background. Okay, this tool is basically used for this sync service only. Okay, so they have built in this tool for this purpose only. So everything this tool will be doing in this in the background. Okay. So now what? So once you install this tool, so you will get one Azure AD connect sync engine. Okay, Azure AD connect sync engine tool also. If you go to search bar and if you search for this Azure AD Connect Sync Engine, na, so you will get this tool. Okay, this tool also will be installed along with this Microsoft Azure AD Connect tool. Okay, so what is the purpose of this tool, Azure AD Connect Sync Engine? This tool will basically have all the details regarding sync service. Okay, so here you will have like if there are user accounts which is getting getting synced from the on-prem environment to the Azure environment, so everything, each and everything details that you can get it from this Azure AD Connect Sync Engine tool. Okay, you just need to open that, and if there is some sync in progress, that also you can do, that you can also view. Okay, sometime what will happen is now in organization these issues happen. You also know that issue happens every now and then. So what issues will be we will be getting is sometime you have created a account on your Windows AD, and that account is not reflecting on the Azure AD portal. Okay, so what you need to check then? Firstly, you need to check this service. Okay, this service is running or not. Okay, you need to check this service is running or not. Okay, first thing what you need to do? How do we check whether the service is running or not? Anyone? You just need to go to Windows R and you need to type services.msc. Okay, services is running or not. How do we check this? Using by going to services.msc. Okay, and from here you can get that information whether this service is running or not. And if this service is not running, you can just right click and click on restart, so this services will start running. Or if due to some any issue, if the user account was not copied and pasted from the on-prem environment to the Azure environment, okay, so what you need to do then? You can simply do what? You can manually, okay, too many spelling mistakes are happening. Manually, okay, manually you can trigger this Azure AD Connect Sync Engine. Okay, so that option you will be having it from your Azure portal only, not from Azure portal. Sorry. From this Azure AD Connect Sync Engine, which you will get along with this Azure AD Connect tool. Now, in this tool only, you will have an option to manually trigger this Azure AD Connect Sync Engine. Okay, so this all the things you people need to do. Okay, and create a document and share it with me by Wednesday. Okay, all the installation and everything. Okay, I have told you all the steps. Okay, but the thing it is very simple. You just need to install one tool, and once you install this tool, you need to connect to Azure AD, you need to connect to ADDS, and after that you need to go to, and you just need to go to the search bar and you will get this sync engine tool. And you just need to create a user account and see if that is reflecting on your Azure AD or not. And if it is not reflecting, you can click on, there will be an option manually trigger. You just need to click on that option. That's it. Okay. Okay, so up to here it is fine. but we need to know few of the terms. Okay, let me see how many minutes do we have left. I think we have 6 minutes. Okay, we can discuss, no issue. So these question is very these questions will be asked in the interviews. Okay, if they are taking interviews for Azure AD, so these are definite questions. Password write back, pass through authentication, and password has synchronization. Okay, so these three, they may ask you all the three, or at least one they will definitely ask. Okay, so what is this password write back feature? We get, okay, when we do this whole setup, hybrid identity setup, now we get some features. Okay, so first thing is we get this feature that is called password write back feature. So what is this password write back feature all about? Password write back feature is like, if you are password will be synced from Azure AD to on-prem environment. Okay, environment. So what does this password write back feature provides? If you are updating your password into your Azure AD, the same password will be synced to prem on-prem environment. Okay, so how is it possible? It is possible through this password write back feature. If we are not enabling this password write back feature, your password, if you are updating from Azure AD, it won't be reflected or it won't be synced to your on-prem environment. Okay, so just remember this point. Okay, and the another one is just opposite of this password write back, and that is called password has synchronization. So what does this feature provide? Password has synchronization. Passwords will be synced from on-prem to Azure, just the opposite. Okay, password will be synced from on-prem to Azure AD environment. Okay, yeah. And what is the third one? Okay, third one is pass through authentication. Okay, so what does this pass through authentication feature provides? Pass through authentication feature provides you, if suppose if you want to manage your whole hybrid identity from on-prem environment only, you have just taken Azure environment as a backup for your Active Directory services. Okay, you don't want to manage your identity or your organization's Active Directory services from Azure AD portal. So in that case, you have an option where you can simply manage the whole hybrid identity from the on-prem ID only. Okay, so what does this feature do? Your entire users, groups, everything are authenticated and managed by on-prem environment. Okay, so you can simply manage your whole hybrid environment from this on-prem environment only. Okay, you don't need to log in into Azure portal and do management from there. If you want to skip that process, you can manage everything from on-prem environment only. Okay, if something happens to your on-prem environment, then you can consider going to the Azure portal and okay. So we have three most important features with this Azure AD Connect tool. You need to remember this. Okay, we have other features also like SSO you can enable. Okay, you can use hybrid deployment. But in interviews, these are the most three important features. And while configuration of this Azure AD Connect tool, okay, you will be asked whether you want to go for this password write back feature or not, whether you want to go for this password hash sync feature or not, and if you want to enable this password pass through authentication feature or what. So you need to select this options properly. You will be shown all the options. Okay, you need to do check mark which options you want to enable for your own hybrid environment. So